Meeple Talk! Hello everyone, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Adam.
And welcome to Meeple Talk. So this week we've got Oracle of Delphi. It's another 2016 game, 2 to 4 players. Brought to you by...
Tasty Minstrel, yes.
Also Hall
and
Games.
Stefan Feld, the designer. Famous guy.
Yeah. We talk like we know him. We have
Another game of his.
Yes.
Just saying.
So moving on here. So what you can see here,
Okay.
we've got the massive oceans.
Yes.
And it's
Ancient Greece.
Yes, exactly. Good theme. And so you've got a series of gods, you've got monsters, you've got, various tasks to complete. And it's essentially not only completing tasks, but it's a race to the finish as well. So it's a nice big old board.
Yes. Everyone's got their little boat, and you basically have to complete a bunch of tasks and by traveling from one place to another and getting things and bringing them back and that sort of thing.
So we might as well delve right into it, and let's have a look at the board itself. Now, looking at this board, it's a really, really nice setup, and I'm going to go into it a little bit here. So we're going to start here at the bottom, with all of our individual player boards. So it's going to represent a lot of things. So for one, your 12 tasks, everyone with the exception of one particular character may have 12 tasks that they need to complete. So you'll have, Adam will explain those in just a moment. The player board itself has their oracle here, and this is where, with your oracle dice, you're going to be rolling them, and this will determine, based on the color and the images, what possible actions you may be able to take. So you're going to decide, and also have some ability to modify those and decide what kind of actions you're going to do. As you're going to be going along in the game, you might have to be defeating the Titan and or certain monsters, and so this will represent your level of strength or defense capability with these shields here. Also, to help you along in the game, we've got it's the God's track. So depending on certain dice rolls or certain other conditions, each god is going to progress along the track, and then once they get to their throne, they can now be used for their certain ability to help you along in the game to achieve your tasks more effectively. Also, even though this is all the common elements that we may share, every player is going to have their own hold here, and depending on the tile that they choose, this may give them a certain advantage for their playing. This one here represents their shields. This person's going to get some extra strength. They may have ones that will enhance speed, maybe increased cargo capacity to make your pickups and drop-offs a lot easier to accomplish, or other certain functions to help you along. Now, as we go, this is the board itself, the master board itself. This is where all of it is going to happen. And it's going to represent your ocean, so along which you're going to be planning your routes for the most effective picking up and dropping off, and whatever else you need to accomplish. Eventually you're going to be racing to Zeus once it's all done, so make sure you keep him in mind. Also, to help you along too, as you complete certain tasks, or if other elements in the game come to light, you're going to be collecting certain types of cards. These are the ones you don't want. These are the injury cards. As you either succumb to the Titan or other monsters, you may be picking up these different colored injury tokens. If you collect too many of them in either certain configurations or just gross total amount, you may end up missing a turn, so don't keep those. You might be defeating monsters and then getting your companion cards. Again, these will give you certain features or benefits to help you along and complete your tasks better as well. You have the Oracle cards. And again, certain advantages, you can use them almost like free dice rolls to help you choose extra actions in your turns. Also, finally, you have your equipment cards. They may be other bonuses like added capacity and strength, ability to move in a unique way, or to pick up and drop off without having to achieve the same kind of dice rolls that you'll need to accomplish. These are also nice bonuses as you go along. So it's a really, really nice board here. And so let's have a look at how we play.
Okay, so let's look at one player's turn. So we'll look at the green board here. You'll see the 12 different tasks that Stephanie mentioned. I'll explain a little more detail the different tasks that you have to accomplish. First of all, you have your 3 shrines, and those shrines have an equivalent on the board. So you just need to drop those off. There are particular hexes that are covered in clouds, and when you go there, you can turn them over, or another player can turn them over. And if you find your color, now this is for blue, so green couldn't use this shrine, but when green turns up the green shrine, then green can then transport one of these. Well, I think actually once you go there, you just drop the shrine off, and then that task is complete. And then you take this and put it in the game board, or in the game box, and then you only have 11 tasks left. And your goal is to just do all of those tasks. So as I mentioned, on your turn, you will have already rolled your dice, because at the end of your turn is when you roll your dice. And then, so you have a whole round to consider how are you going to use your different colors. And you have these, I'm not sure what these are called anymore, favors. That's what they are, God's favors. They allow you to, if you don't like the particular color that you rolled, you can expend one of these to move it to a different color that's nearby. And you can only go in one direction, as you can see there. And so basically, you're going to use these 3 dice to do certain actions. One of them is going to be traveling, because you'll have to travel in pretty much every case here. You'll use your ship, which starts where Zeus is. So that's your ship here. This is yellow ship. I'll actually probably use green ship. And what you'll do is you'll move. You have a base move of 3. And in order to move somewhere, you have to move up to 3 spaces and land on a particular color of the die that you have up. So if I wanted to move to a pink space, I would have to move no more than 3 and land on a pink spot. So that's why the color is important. Color is important for every single action you take. If you are capturing these statues, that would be the second action that you can take. Well, you're erecting statues, actually. So you would first come and pick them up, and you would need a yellow die in order to pick it up and put it in your cargo hold. And then you would move to a place, another place on the board. In this case, there's the yellow sun. That's where this statue can go. This is a really good route because it's really close. But then to drop it off, you would need another yellow die to drop it off. So that's basically how all of these colors come into play. So there are certain colors that you'll always want to complete a particular task. Third task is to defeat the monsters. And you'll see a stack of monsters here, and in different places of the board, there are stacks of different colored monsters. You won't need to defeat all the different colors. There's just 3 here. This white always indicates any color. So in the case of the statues, you can collect 3 of any color statues. They can be all the same or all different. In this case, you'll need to defeat a yellow monster, a blue monster, and a monster of any color. And finally, there's the offerings. And the way the offerings work is they are these cubes that are sitting on particular offering, land plots. And you'll have to go there and pick up that particular cube. And then you'll have to deliver it to that same colored temple. Here's a red temple here. So if you could pick up this red die and deliver it to that red temple, then you would have completed that task. And that's basically how an overview of how the game works. And the first player to complete all 12 of their tasks will cue the end of the round. I guess if there's any players that still have to play, they'll play the end of the round, and then you determine who wins. And that's basically it. So, yes, there's one thing we forgot to mention at the end. After you complete all your 12 tasks, you do have to go back, physically bring your ship back to Zeus. And then that triggers the final round. So we just wanted to mention that. So
because sometimes, even if you're the first one to get to Zeus, you might not end up being the winner.
Yes, and then there'll be tiebreakers.
Exactly. Yes, it just depends on what the ending conditions are like and what you've satisfied.
Very dramatic.
But overall, it's a very impressive game. And it's not... yes, it's got a lot of pieces. It's got a lot of components, yes.
A lot of setup.
But in a way, it doesn't look overcrowded in the sense that it's too busy of a board. One thing that we wanted to point out as well is that it's got... the artwork is really, really cool, really fantastic. But some people, depending if they have any kind of visual impairment or anything, the colors may not necessarily stand out because pinks and reds come very, very close. We found ourselves kind of confusing them depending on. But there is some flexibility in the board. So it's not two-sided board in the sense that they're completely different rules or gameplays per side. It's the exact same game. You can customize the arrangement of the board and the patterning of it. But the difference between the two sides, you'll have... the side that we decided to show has the symbols facing up, whereas the other side, they've rearranged it where just the dominant color is surrounding the hex. So depending visually what works better for you, you can choose which board to work with. So I think that's pretty helpful as well.
Yeah, but the problem we had, and this also comes to the dice, is that the red and the pink are almost the same. In fact, from a distance, you can't even tell the difference. And the blues and the blacks, especially on this other side, the blues and the blacks are almost the same. So you're often looking at and you're saying, oh, I can go there. And you're like, oh, no, that's a red, not a pink. And when you roll the dice, because other players can move up in their god track depending on what color you rolled, and you'll call the color and you'll say pink, and I don't know what this color is. So so I wish they had done a little bit better differentiating the colors.
It's just when people have certain colors.
It's not that hard, you know, so I don't know if it was a bad printing or not, but I kind of assume, you know, if two colors are lighter, then they both still look the same.
Maybe
but
just
anyway,
an oversight. But other than that, when it comes to the actual playing of the game, it's really clean. It's really tight. I really enjoy playing this game. It does really well at creating conflict. It really, when it comes to your ability to think and plan ahead, it's not so random that you're subject to rolls of the dice and you're like, oh my goodness, everything is destroyed. You still have ways of achieving something depending on what you roll or what resources available to you. You still have options to work with. You might not move as efficiently as you wanted to, or sometimes you might have a situation where you propel a lot further than you thought you could originally. That's great, but it's not really a kind of game where you always feel like you're at a loss. So I think keeping people involved at every stage of the game, I think it does a really good job of that.
Yeah, my opinion is I think this is a great strategy game, and the reason is you know, you roll dice to find out what colors you have available and what you can do, but you have a lot of options to make that better. For example, if you roll colors that you don't like, you do have these favors, and you can actually expend a die to get 2 more favors. So, and then those favors allow you to move the dice along the wheel and change, for example, this pink into a blue or that blue into a yellow, and then you get the color you want, and then you can do what you want to do. Exactly. And there's also, because there's 12 tasks, and there's no order in which you have to complete those tasks.
Not really.
So, starting from wherever your ship is, you can say, oh, well, those monsters are close, and maybe I have 2 shields because I got a unique bonus at the beginning of the game. I can maybe attack those monsters first, and then the monsters will give you certain bonuses, and then, you know, what I'm saying is, no matter what you roll, there's always some good option that you can take. And you're always adjusting for what you've rolled and what's near you and what people have taken, because you might want to grab some offerings and bring them to a temple, but maybe somebody else gets there first and takes the colors that you need. Yeah. Because every player, all of the players need 2 colors, 2 of the same colors, right? So they are competing in some ways for a lot of the similar, for the monsters and for the offerings
but
especially.
It's not so... like when we talk about the competition, if one person snags a particular good or color before someone else, it's not so detrimental that you're wasting so much time to recover. Right. So I think they balance those powers
because
out.
They're on board. There's enough for everyone. It's just you may have to go further afield to get it, but then you can always compensate for that by, for example, there's companion cards, and there's one card for everyone, which allows you to move 2 extra moves throughout the game if you have a particular color. And that, again, is something that, you know, oh, I'm in a bad situation, I can make it better by doing this. Yeah. And so I really like this strategy. Like, you can think long-term, you can think short-term, you can have different strategies. And it's very competitive, even though you're not necessarily in everyone else's face, you know, like hurting them in order to help yourself. It's competitive in the sense you're like, oh, and you can see, I like the fact that it's not a victory point salad game either. Yeah. It's literally, there's no victory points, it's just those 12 tasks. So you can look at anyone's board at any time and say, oh, they have 5 and I have 6, I'm behind. You instantly know where everyone else is.
But the thing is, I guess the other couple of things I want to mention about it is that even though you might have some tokens that give you certain advantages or card layouts and stuff, I think they really balance that out in the sense that there's no one function that really overpowers another. So if someone has a lead, they're like completely in the lead and there's no way of catching up. This idea of seeing where you are relative to everyone else, it doesn't always stay that way. So we've had people come up seemingly from behind, people that were having great leads at the beginning, and then, you know, maybe they miss a turn or something. All of a sudden that sets them back, right? Yes. Sometimes you can accomplish 2 or 3 tasks in one go. And so I really like it is that for as balanced as they have all the mechanics, the level of tension, they always maintain this level of excitement, is that, you know, I've felt on a couple of times where I'm almost winning or just about to catch up or something. Even when someone's racing to the end, it's like you feel this, oh my goodness, like, am I going to do this? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do this? Yes, and so I felt like it holds the tension very, very well. So I like that, how it keeps my level of excitement.
And I just want to point out one other thing that's very clever design in this game is there's a lot of different choices you can make. And you know how a lot of medium strategy games, I guess I could say, players take a long time to take their turn. Well, what they did in this game is you rolled your dice, which are going to be your actions. You roll them at the end of your turn for your next turn, so you have a whole round to think about what you're going to do. And also, when another player rolls their dice, you have the opportunity to move your gods. Advance your gods. And so you're involved in every other turn that every other player plays. And also, turns seem to go pretty snappy as well.
It's amazing how a minor adjustment like that makes a huge difference. Right.
So it's very brilliantly designed. I think this is just a highlight of a game. You know, if you haven't played a game like this, you definitely should play this game.
I absolutely agree. Wholeheartedly. I would say if you can get it, grab it.
I'm a huge fan of this,
Me too. And it makes me encouraged to get a lot more and try some of these other ones out here that we are looking forward to review as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you can, grab it. I highly recommend it.
So that's our review, and thanks for watching.
Thank you. We'll see you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.